Katu. See right here, this is the shift. See the shift right here? Now that's what we were speaking about with the shift. Alright, with the shift of the poles. Now this 2012 period of time, it's very interesting because in the first part of the video, let's just play the video. Let's see if we can play the video again, right? Okay, here's the video. Give you a full screen. Okay, the video went off for a moment. What was showing you right there, here it comes right here again. Now this is the ocean as we go to the east. Alright, but this is with a 40-degree shift. Alright, there's Australia. Note Australia. You can see. Okay, we're just uploading this, getting ready for the Shabbat, for this week's Shabbat reading. Now we'll get that queued up, but that's part of the video that we wanted to show in the Hadith. And speaking of the Hadith Zemin, Hadith Zemin 2012. Alright, the video had went off, and we'll have to. Let's exit that right now, and here we go. Reload that. Now this is what we're talking about with the polar shift. Can you see Africa over there? Okay, can you see Africa over there? Let's see if you can play this again. Okay. Now, when we compare these two, let's go to our disk here and open the Hadith Zemin folder with some of the graphics. And now when we look at this 40-degree shift that they say is one of the results of this period, this dispensation that we're in, it's a polar shift. So if we look at a modern digitalized rendition of what happens at the poles, in the shift in the magnetics in this particular period of time, as we're going into 2012. You know, this is partly, and we say partly, what is going on with the weather, partly. Now the HARP, and those who speak about the whole government project with the HARP, that does interfere. That does cause unexpected. See, there's already a shift going on, but then there's already tampering that's being done with the shift. Now, this is one example of the poles of this particular polar region and the energies. Some can say it's the magnetics and other forces that go through. You can also see in this a Stargate. You can also notice a Stargate as well. We're going to touch on the Stargates and even the Stargate series on television, which they hint a lot of things in that Stargate series, as if you can decode the code, if you have a good foundation in some of the basics of the metaphysics. Now, we also notice in His Imperial Majesty, the Bible Society of His Imperial Majesty, right, the Ethiopian Bible Society symbol. What we notice is interesting with that, right, and this is also part of the prophecy, is that you see right here, this is the cross. Now, we have a clearer graphic of this, but this hopefully will suffice for right now to demonstrate the binary stars. Now, this is the actual Bible Society seal or arma or logo that was used on the original printing of the book of the seven seals, according to Revelation 5:5, and Christ in his kingly character, whom biblical prophecy speaks of as the Ancient of Days. So let's bring up an actual picture right here. This is the Ancient of Days. This is Kadamawi Haile Selassie. This is him. And in connection with His Majesty, or as we say, as Rastafari, we say Christ in his kingly character, is this particular seal, this particular logo right here. Now, what we notice in it, like once again, is the binary stars. The binary stars, the cross. You can see Lalabella here, but you can also see the crux in the heavens. There's also the cross within the heavens. And we're going to touch on that in our series dealing with Witness to the Stars, E.W. Bullinger work that was written some time ago. But when we start to put all of this together into the proper context, now, so here we see once again this binary star system and the tree. This is the tree, the cross tree, and the book, the open book. The open book. So within this, prophetically, can be interpreted this 2012 event, or this galactic, this solar, this cosmic alignment, and what's also been called and known as the erection of the Grand Cross. There's a cross formation in the heavens. Now, you can see here the Ethiopian swastika. We'll touch on that as well, the swastika. Now, the real goal in this particular period of time for us, because these things will happen and these things are happening, but many would ask, well, what are we to do? How can we prepare? This right here is a Walter Hicks painting of Christ, of the true Christ, of Christ, some might say the black Christ, but of Christ walking upon these waters. See, we're living in a time of tribulation, and the water is also another particular sign of this prophetic dispensation, water. Many say that the rainbow circle covenant, or the Arengwade Bicha E Al Kidan, that rainbow circle covenant that was made in the time of Noah, is also symbolic now of this end of the age, this end of one age, and this cosmic alignment that is said to be occurring. They said it hasn't happened since 25, some say 25,800, you understand, or some say 26. It's variously estimated by those who have tried to do the actual celestial calculation, but you could say roughly 2,600 years. 26, this particular alignment that we're going through, and we're already in the alignment. But now as we look forward, as we're coming into this new year, the real goal for us is the template of Christ. Now His Majesty testifies that Christ, Jesus Christos, the Moshiach, He testifies of Christ. He testifies to us that we cannot do anything outside or part of that template of Christ, and that there would be brothers that would arise in the future. You find this in His Majesty's autobiography in Book 1. There's a prayer before he gets into his autobiography, or what's known as he would take Ethiopia Rimja. He would take na Ethiopia Rimja, or my life and Ethiopia's progress. This is His Imperial Majesty Kadamawi Haile Selassie's autobiography, and in Book 1. In Book 1, you find that particular preface, that Mekadem. And it's very important to study that Mekadem, and that there's where His Majesty mentions these brothers, our kith and our kin, our brothers who would rise in the future. May they make note of the word which Jesus Christos has spoken. Without me, you can do nothing. So the testimony of His Majesty in these last days of the Gentile world dominion what we can also call as white supremacy, as well as the end of the church age, as the end of the church age. Now, this is all biblical, prophetic. We find it summed up in the book of Revelation, Johannes Rai, or the vision of Yah's grace. Now, that book, Revelation, though many people would say it's about a lot of doom and judgment and death and mayhem, but there's also a brightness, a hope, and an expectation in Revelation, even in that particular book that many have because of their consciousness level. Their consciousness is not able to see the higher heights and receive the promise of God in the person of Jesus Christos. So here Christ is walking on the water. Now, it's very important to understand the part of Scripture, of the Gospel, where he was walking on the water, and Petros, or Peter, came out to meet him. Remember when Peter came out to meet him walking on the waters? Peter demonstrated that in that faith, in that single-mindedness, that even we, as so-called flesh and blood, or as so-called mortal, going from mortality to immortality through that walk of faith and spirit and in truth, can also walk on that water. And the water must be understood both in its symbolic sense, what the symbolism of water is, as well as the various apps or applications. So it's not to say, well, go out there and try to walk on the water, so forth and so on, and just say you have faith. No. It's saying, first of all, to receive the Spirit, and the truth of it, that even at that point of actualization, it is possible. But first we must be children again. In other words, first we must be babes again. First we must be born again. And we must grow up to him in all things. So this actualization of Christ, he's saying that those who have faith in his God, in his word, what he did, that they would do and even greater things. But we must remember there's a process. You understand? It's not just so-called just faith without the work, the spiritual work. Faith without the work is dead. So there are those baby steps. There are those basic steps, those basic pillars, those basic foundations. So when we study the gospel of Jesus Christos, we find this, and we are to be mindful of this. So now, in looking at these particular events and this particular time that we are in, and the various signs of the time, both the signs are mundane or that are earthly, as well as those which are heavenly. Now, pointing to one of those, the conjunction of the earthly and heavenly signs, we bring this particular inspiration that we have used previously and was inspired to us. Now, once again, this is the flame letter, or Yod. This is Yod, what's known as Yod, or the flame letter. Let's bring this. Okay, can you see this better? Yeah, Yod, or the flame letter. Right, Yod in the Hebrew, or the flame letter. Now, this is Yah. This is Yah within the Ethiopic, within the Royal Amharic. This is Yah. Now, with this vertical bar being centered would be the ancient symbol of the ancient Jad, or the ancient Yad. Now, Yad here is in what's known as the six-pointed star. Now, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation out there concerning the six-pointed star, and a lot of vain speculation. See, no symbol, you understand, no symbol in and of itself is evil in that sense. No symbol either is good in that sense as well. In the original sense of Ha-Elohim, that it was created, you understand, that man was created good, and that the earth and the world, before the foundation of this world, was created good. But because the fall of man's consciousness and the introduction now of evil through the trick of the enemy, through so-called the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, man now began to know or began to imagine evil through his imagination. And this is by the fall of consciousness, not recognizing that it is all good in God and through the Moshiach Jesus Christos. Well, that's now part of the redemption. That's part of the salvation. So now this particular alignment, that when we talk about the 2012 from an Ethiopic perspective, right? And this particular symbol that was revealed to us, and this is what we've begun to put together, not like others have certain 2012 prognostications. We're not making any prognostications. A particular symbol was revealed to us, and now we're beginning to learn that there's going to be some 40 or more degree shift. You understand? There's supposed to be like a 40 degree, what they call a polar, some sort of a polar shift. Let's bring that back up, what we started this out with, what from the previous video we couldn't play or wasn't playing from the previous part of this lecture here. Let's where's that particular video that we had? Okay, 2012. Okay, this is a video called 2012 Earth's Equator. The equator of the Earth, how the equator of the Earth is speculated to change in this particular period of time that we're in as we approach roughly the winter solstice, or December 21st, 2012. Now here's the United States of America. Now you can see that there's some differences, even the water table, right? The water table around is rising. This is supposed to be the United States of America. So I don't know. Now, one may say, well, this is the same direction that's in, but pay more attention to this particular video that shows a predicted 40 degree. This is if the whole shift. Remember, in this alignment, the entire heavens and the solar system and the galaxy, the whole cosmos is aligning to a position that some scientists say that it was not in for the past 26 or so thousand years, a particular ancient alignment. Now, so this is the U.S. Now we're going over the Pacific, right? The Pacific. And these are all land masses that can resurface too, as a new island is coming up in the region, the Red Sea. There's a new report about it. Now, this is Australia. Here's Australia right here. There's a new island that has emerged between Yemen and northern Ethiopia called Eritrea. There's a new island out here. Now, notice this is the Horn of Africa. Pause that right there. Pause that. You see, this is the Horn of Africa. I don't know if you know the so-called position that it's currently in. This is a dramatic shift right here. This is a dramatic shift right here. See if you can move it over so they can see. Okay, here we go. You see how much of a dramatic shift this is. Play video. Can you see it? That's Africa. You see the equator? You see how the equator has totally shifted? Now this is Africa right here. Now, when I saw this video, and already, the thought was there that this particular symbol that was revealed to us more than a decade ago, this particular symbol right here with the Yemen, or the star of Jacob. Some call it the star of even Yehuda or Judah, the star of Jacob, rising. You see the rise of the star of Jacob. Now this is the Ethiopic Yah, or Jah, as in Kumbaya, right? This is Yah. This is Yod or Jad, the Hebrew flame letter. this is according to the Masoretic or Ezra's squaring of the ancient Ethiopic letters. Now it says over here, this is Yod in Hebrew, and this is Yemen. Notice the name Yemen, which means right hand in Ethiopic. It's the right hand. It's the right hand. It's the fist upraised. This is an upraised fist right here. Or one can say the hand of the Lord, the hand of Adonai, the hand of Adonai. So the hand of the Lord, or more correctly, the hand of Adonai, or the hand of Yah, the hand of Jah, is in these cosmic phenomena that we are experiencing, as well as those that we're about to experience. But we also want to make ones aware that man is also manipulating or attempting to manipulate natural phenomena for various diabolical reasons, such as through the so-called HARP project. But not everything can be particularly blamed on HARP as far as doing some of these phenomena. Some are speculating because there's also cosmic forces that are at work. You understand? And there's much interference from man and the satanic or metaphysical interdimensional demonic entities that certain men and people are channeling. Now, here we see the shift. This is a 40-degree shift. Look how dramatic this 40-degree shift of the earth is coming up in this 2012 period of time, because some think that all of this is going to happen just on that day. But we predict that there's going to be a period, a particular period, and the key is found in the seven cows, or the Hathors, right, of Iusuf, of Yosef, of Joseph, the particular 7 years of plenty, or 7 fat years and 7 lean years. Now, look how Europe has shifted too. Europe, there's a dramatical shift from the north, from the northward position. You see, from the northward position. Now, all right, so this is the video, right? This is the video that we were, let me see if we can, so ones can see it more. So here you go, right here. This is the 40-degree Earth's equator for 40-degree polar shift, 2012. So you can see the great changes and the orientations of the land masses, which will contribute to certain floodings and certain inundations, and the loss of certain cities as well, too. Now, this is going to have great and dramatic consequences. So it's important that we learn about this now so that we can prepare within the limited time that we have. Now look at that right there. It's like almost the entire thing is shifting. You see how Africa is? It's almost unrecognizable if you don't pay attention. You're going to see how, look at that dramatic shift right there. That is a very, very dramatic shift. You understand? Of Africa. A very dramatic shift of Africa. And also, you see the location now, the relocation of the land masses. This is America, North America, which usually is at a position way up here. This is Africa, West Africa, which usually has a 40-degree shift. So the whole equator is like the Red Sea, almost is, as the shift continues, will come into that equatorial region, which, if you look at the map today, or the land masses currently, that seems impossible, but this is what is to be expected during this particular period of time. We say a 7 to 8 year period of time. But there'll be high points, very dramatic points, and there'll be more gradual shifts. So it's important for us right now to prepare for this particular period of time, to prepare spiritually. You know what I'm saying? To prepare psychically, to prepare on a physical level for the times to come, recognizing exactly what these signs of the times are, and how closely linked all of this really is. Now let's go forward to okay, this right here. Let's show this one once again. This is the particular flyer. It began off as a particular flyer that we put out some years ago, and to get a full picture of it, this is the flyer right here, and to zoom in on it, it's the teachings of His Imperial Majesty, and we have certain symbols here. We have the crucified, the face of the crucified. We have the star of what's known as the Star of David, the Magen David, with the cross here, which is a very ancient symbol. We have the crucified connection with Egypt, or spiritual Egypt, over here. Then what's a little bit out of view, well, let's see if we can bring this a little more into view. Let's see if we can bring this over. Okay, so you can, okay, see that side, and here we go. So now you can see this particular symbol, and we never gave it really a particular name, but this was revealed to us, and you can see now the position of the sun right here, but look at the position of Africa. You see, most would not even recognize that this is Africa. So we have right here the east now in a northern orientation. So when we look at that particular video, which demonstrates a 40-degree polar shift, and the land masses as they would be anticipated scientifically according to certain computer and scientific estimations based on certain knowledge of the land masses, and even the ancient world was not orientated as the present world is when we start to really go into some of the ancient past, even some of the beginning chapters of the Bible. Why a lot of people can't find some of the places and really fully put it together is because the land masses were also in a different orientation. So here we have Africa in a different orientation. So it is quite likely that in the next 10 to 20 years, these things that we are speaking about now would be realities. You understand? But when we think about how cosmic this is, it behooves us to become prepared spiritually and psychologically and on the physical and material level in this particular time, in the limited time, while we still have time. So this was this particular flyer right here, which was a proclamation of the good news of the King of Kings and His Christ. And you can find this at our website, www.lojsociety.org, and you can go to the study page, and this is in a booklet called Kashate Burhan, or Revealer of the Light, who is the King of Kings. And you can find this flyer and some more information in that particular document that's online for free download. Now, as we go forward with this, let's just go through this a little bit more. As we go forward with this right here, we can see the reorientation. So that means that this would be the new north, and this would be the new east. You understand? In other words, if we now flip this over, you understand? This will be north, or actually this will be west, right? This will be east, and this will be south. Understand how dramatic a difference this orientation actually is. But yet, if we would go to this particular video again and then study, and study the background data, we see that this is not just a speculation, but this is the likely reality. This is part of what is to be expected in these dramatic days and times that we are living in, and witnessing these signs that we are witnessing. So let's play this once again, and there we go. Let's play this once again. All right. All right. So more to come on that. Stay tuned.